Welcome to UCLA Extension in this course on APUS history. This course is directed towards the new changes that are taking place to the APUS history class in 2014 and 2015. A lot of teachers have expressed extreme concerns and are just a little bit freaked out about the changes that are taking place to the Advanced Placement U.S. History class. So I want to take a little bit of time to explain why these changes are taking place and that we really don't have that much to be freaked out about. In fact, we're already doing a lot of things that are taking place with the changes. The College Board has said for some time that they've noticed that teachers have some worries and concerns about the APUS history class. So they did a survey in order to find out what teachers' concerns were really all about. The two major concerns that came up in the survey were, number one, there wasn't enough time to teach in depth in the course, and number two, that the course really didn't reflect the critical thinking skills that were being developed in college classrooms. So there will be several changes to the APUS history course. The first has to do with two new periods that are being added onto our curriculum. The first period is from 1491 to 1607, and that is the period on Native American interaction with European exploration, or the pre-Columbian era. There will also be a second period added on from 1980 to the present, going from the Reagan Revolution to the presidency of Barack Obama. Now, I can imagine that you're probably wondering right now, if one of the greatest concerns of teachers was the fact that we don't have a lot of time to teach the material, why would they just add on more material to us? This is a pretty understandable concern, and when I first heard it, I had the same fear. However, when you look at what they're doing to the test overall, you're going to see that by adding on new periods, you actually are not adding on all that much more information. And the reason is because the test is now focused much more on teaching in depth and general themes than handing out a lot of facts. A good example of this change is in the multiple choice section. Multiple choice questions will now be reduced from 80 multiple choice questions in 55 minutes to 55 multiple choice questions given over the same time period, 55 minutes. The questions will now have 4 answer choices instead of the previous 5 answer choices. Plus, the questions will be formatted differently. On previous tests, the multiple choice would include broad questions and answers and very specific factual recall questions. The questions will now entirely be based upon broad answers that test the major themes of the class, including national identity, peopling, work exchange and technology, beliefs, America and the world, and environment. Most of the questions will come after a stimulus, that is a reading, map, or cartoon. Then there will be about 6 questions about that particular stimulus. The answer choices must come from within the time period, but there can be distractors based upon different causes, different effects, and different intentions of the actors at the time period. Plus, the questions may not be direct comprehension of the reading. They will be based upon application, synthesis, and evaluation skills. There will also now be a short answer section to the test. The short answer section is new. It will cover 4 questions in 45 minutes. The students will have to address questions that will be based upon readings, pictures, maps, etc. The questions will ask students to do a historical analysis of the stimulus. Typically, the question will be asked in 3 separate parts. Students are supposed to address each part as directly as possible. Answers must be in sentence format, not bullet format. But students are expected not to write out full essays, but rather short answer type sections. There is still going to be a Dbq section, but we have changed in the way that we are addressing documents. First off, students must address all but one of the documents. Addressing the documents will no longer mean just paraphrasing, as it did in the past. Students must now either state the audience for the document, state the purpose of the document, state the historical context for the document, or state the author's point of view. This must be done for every document, but they can leave out one, and each document only needs one of these skills from above to be addressed. Next, students must show a connection between the outside context in the documents. This is nothing new, we've done this before. However, after that, students must also show a connection between the argument and the bigger context of the time period, what's being called contextualization. An example would be something like the Civil Rights Movement, the Feminist Movement, westward expansion, or Great Migration. However, this is going to be the really big change. The last thing students must do is provide synthesis. When they say synthesis, what they mean is that students will be able to show an understanding of different viewpoints to the documents by connecting to other regions, time periods, contexts, or circumstances. So for example, a student who would point out that the Great Migration led to African Americans moving to the north might also point out in synthesis that this eventually led to marches for the Civil Rights Movement 30 or 40 years later. The last major section of the test is the same as what we've seen before, a free response question, or what will be called the long answer essay. One possible format is a comparison contrast essay. A second will be a change over time essay, or a causation essay. And a third will be a periodization essay. So I can imagine if you've been teaching this class for a while, your head is probably spinning at this point. But here's the good news. The truth is, we've been doing this all the time. It's just now these changes are becoming more conscious. We're going to be learning how to teach these changes specifically and explicitly, and we're going to be learning how to give rationalizations for them. Basically, all the changes that are taking place are things that we have already done. This class is going to allow us over the next several weeks to work together as colleagues to create different ways to help students to deal with these changes during the year and to make sure that our lessons are just updated for the changes that we actually are already teaching inside of the class. As we go along, please feel free to ask questions and just know that I'm learning along with you on this and that we're going to support one another in making sure that we're prepared for this year. Thank you.